Welcome to episode 4 of the No Code Ninja series. In this episode, we will be building an automation that is going to help us transcribe audio to text. So how this automation will work is we will build an interface that will allow us to upload audio files. Then we'll send those files off to Chatgpt to help us transcribe those audio files to text. Then we will send that text to Google Documents and we'll generate a Google Doc with that transcription. So let's get cracking. Okay, so we will be building our interface with Baserow.io. Baserow is an open source database tool. It's a really great tool. If you haven't checked it out, you can create a free account and start building no-code automations with it. So let's just log in. Your dashboard is going to look something similar to this, and we're going to create a new database. So let's just call this patient. I'm going to add that. Okay, and we're just going to set this up just with some basic fields. So we've already got a name. We want to collect an attachment. So basically, we're going to add the file. We're just going to call this audio recording. Create. And there we have it. So what we're going to do is we're going to just configure that form. So if we just go to the grid and we click form, we're going to just name this audio upload. Add form. Beautiful. So we've got a really basic form here. We're going to add a name and we're going to add that audio recording upload component, and that looks like it is good. We can preview this by clicking the preview button. And here we've got a really basic form. We've got a name and we've got a recording upload component where we can add our files. So let's record an audio recording and submit that. Okay, so I'm just going to use my phone to record a quick voice memo for a patient, a mock patient. So let's just record this audio file. I'm just using the voice memos app on my iPhone. So we have a patient, his name is Jonathan. Jonathan struggles with anxiety and depression. So as a recommendation, we're going to get him on a workout plan for 90 days, and he's going to have to work out for a minimum of once every day. And that is our diagnosis. That's what we recommend for Jonathan. So I just recorded a quick voice memo. Let's go to the next step and configure our Baserow database and continue with our automation. Okay, so what we want to ensure for is when someone submits a name and audio recording, we trigger an automation. And what will happen is a new row will be created in the database. So we're going to create a webhook to build this trigger. So go back to Baserow into the grid section, and if you click these three dots, you'll have webhooks. Let's click that. We're going to create a webhook, and we're just going to call this webhook. And we want to post this information to a URL. So what are we going to do? We're going to go to make, and we're going to get a webhook URL that we can post to. So let's make sure we go into make.com. We're going to create a new scenario. And we're going to look for the webhook module, and we want to trigger a custom webhook. We're just going to name this and we have an address here. So we're just going to copy that address, Just hit OK for now. Go back to Baserow. We're going to paste that. And what we're going to do is just make sure that we trigger this webhook on individual events. And the individual event that we want to trigger for is rows are created. So we've got a couple of other options. Rows are updated, rows are deleted. So, you can think about more scenarios to trigger, really. So let's just go here and just save and close that. And we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so we're going to set up our ChatGPT module, but there's some steps we need to do before we do that. So one thing I want to make sure this automation can handle is multiple audio files. So what we're going to do is set up an iterator and connect that there. Now, what the iterator is going to enable us to do is to process each audio file individually and get that transcription if that is a scenario that we need to handle for. So let's just get our iterator. We're going to select the array, simply go down to the webhook. In the items, you'll find audio recording upload. So that is what we want to select for. And hit OK. Now, we also want to set up a HTTP download. So search HTTP. I've already searched it. So if I click here, it should come up with a bunch of different modules. So I'm looking for the get file module. So I'm just going to click that. And the URL we're looking for is in the webhook. So if we just take our flow control and we are looking for URL, hit OK. So what that is doing is it is beginning to download that file from our Baserow database. And we're going to now send that to ChatGPT. So to find your ChatGPT module, click on Add and then look for OpenAI. I'm just going to click here, OpenAI, and I am looking for Whisper. Create a translation. Creates a translation of an audio into English. So I'm just going to click that, connect that. Beautiful. Now I've already set up my OpenAI connection. If you haven't set yours up, then you simply click on Add and you can go through the steps to set that up. I do have a previous video in which I go through how to set this stuff up. So check out that other tutorial. But nonetheless, let's continue on. So we want to make sure that HTTP get file is selected. So what's going to happen here is OpenAI is going to take that file that we've downloaded and it's going to help us translate it. So here we've got the model Whisper selected. There's also an option for a prompt. Here it says an optional text to guide the model's style or continue a previous audio segment. The prompt should be in English. So you can leave this empty if you'd like. And we're just going to hit OK. Beautiful. So let's move on to the next step. Okay, so we're going to set up our Google document. So what we're going to do is just click on Add and search for Google Docs. Once you find that, what we're going to do is create a document. So I'm going to select that module, connect it to ChatGPT. Just make sure that you have already added your Google Docs connection. If you haven't done that, you can simply click on Add and follow the steps. So what we want to do is set this up. So a Google document is going to be generated. So we want to make sure that the name has the patient's name details on it. So we're just going to get that from the webhook and click name. And we want to make sure that the content in the document, so this is within the document, we get the transcription from ChatGPT. So we want to go to OpenAI and select text. And then we have to select where we want this document to be saved. So I'm just going to find a place in where I would like this to be saved. I'm going to save it in patient files and just hit OK. And looks like we are now ready to test this end to end. So let's do that. Okay, so let's just overview what we've built. We've built an automation that is going to transcribe audio into text. How it works is we have a webhook that is going to receive information from Baserow when a new row is created. We have an iterator that can iterate through multiple file attachments as part of that file submission that we receive. What will happen is we will get the file and the file will be sent to ChatGPT. ChatGPT is going to transcribe that file and then a document is going to be generated in Google Docs. One thing we just need to make sure before we test and run this whole automation is that we actually turn the automation on. So let's just hit on and also just make sure we save. Always good habit to save all the time. We're going to go back to our Baserow and we're going to find our form. We're going to preview it and let's enter the details for Jonathan. And we're going to add our audio recording that I recorded on my phone. I'm going to hit open and I'm going to hit submit. So thanks for submitting the form. Great. If we go back to our make automation, we should be able to see this working. So if we go back here, we've got a success and let's just click into that. Looks like, let's have a look at ChatGPT and yeah, it looks like it transcribed what I said in the file. Beautiful. And looks like a document has been created. So if I go to my Google Docs and I look, we've got Jonathan and here we've got the audio transcribed to text. So there you have it. This is a really simple automation to use, but can be very powerful if used in the right context, in the right setting. I want to thank you guys for subscribing to my channel. Subscribe to No Code Ninja for more. I want to make sure everyone becomes a no code ninja. That is my mission. Thank you and see you in the next lesson.